Hello everyone, this is Virendra Singh from Toolsqa.com and I welcome you to a new tutorial on browser commands. Well, let me take you through the agenda first. What are we learning today? We are learning about browser commands and we are learning about different types of browser commands. Then I will show you the usage of a few browser commands and it will give you an idea of when to use those different browser commands, and then we will talk about an alternative approach to browser commands. As like other videos, this video also has some prerequisites. You must have gone through our basic tutorials on Selenium. You should be able to write some basic tests using Selenium in the language of your choice. This tutorial is based on Java, so for all those who are good at Java, then it would be very easy for them to follow through. For them who are not good at Java or who are working on different platforms, the concepts remain same. You can use the same concepts to work around on the choice of your language. So let us start with the tutorial. What are browser commands? Well, whenever you automate your tests using Selenium, you always end up opening a browser instance. So there is a browser instance and you have Selenium to interact with it. So browser commands are actually commands which are related to the browser only. For example, navigating to a particular URL, or refreshing the page, or closing a particular tab. These are browser commands. Now we have a very good tutorial about it already on our website, and you can just go around and search for browser commands there and you will get this tutorial. It talks briefly about what are the different commands and its usage. Now let's try to see it live how those commands work. So there are primarily 6 different types of browser commands. Let me show you. I have those commands somewhere here. Okay, so we have 6 different types of browser commands and these commands are mentioned here. Well, actually there are 7. So these are the different browser commands. The first one is get, the second one is get title, get current URL, get page source, close, quit, and then we have the refresh command. So let us go through it one by one to understand what they do. This is a simple project that I have created in Selenium in Eclipse, and I hope you know how to create a new project. If you don't know about creating a new project in Eclipse, all you have to do is just go to our Toolsqa.com website, and in the very first chapters, the introduction part, you will find different tutorials to set up your project in Eclipse. So this is the one, set up WebDriver and Eclipse. You can it's a very detailed listing of the steps which you need to perform in order to write your tests, and just go through it. You will understand everything there. So coming back to the project, now I have created a simple Java project and I have associated my binaries, which are the Java files, Selenium Java files, and I have written the very first line, which is Firefox Driver equals to new Firefox Driver. So with this line I'm creating an instance of Firefox Driver, and then I will use this to perform various actions on the browser. So let us first see what the get command does. Now driver.get, get comes in 2 flavors. Let us see the very first command, which is driver.get. So if I click on this, it will ask me for a string, which is the URL. If I say http.yahoo.com and leave it like this, so what it will do, it will create an instance of Firefox Driver, then it will ask that instance to navigate to a particular page which is defined by the string that we provide. So in our case it's http http://yahoo.com. so it will take you to the yahoo.com web page. Now this is the very first browser command. Then we have this another command which is called get title. Now get title browser commands get you a title of the browser window. Now let's see what this method returns. This method returns a string value. So all I have to do is I have to say string browser title equals to this. So it will ask the browser to give the title of the window, and it will store it in this variable. So if I do a simple system dot out dot print line, and if I say where is print line, yeah, if I say print line, then the title of the browser is, and I have the browser title. There you go. So this will print the browser title that we get from after executing this command. So let us try to run this test, and let us see what comes out in the console window. Well, running Firefox is a little slow on my system. It takes a few seconds to actually launch the Firefox window, the browser window. There you go. The browser window will come up, and the very first step was driver.get, and we asked it to move to yahoo.com page, and there we are on the yahoo.com page. And then we have asked it to get the title of the browser. You can see the title of the browser is Yahoo India, and we printed this title onto our console window, which is here, and you can see the title of the browser is Yahoo India, which is this variable. So why do we need it? Why do we ever need to get the title of a browser window? We need to get the title because at times you are interested in what's written here. You are interested that, let's say in our case, it has read. So what we did was we asked it to go to yahoo.com, but what happened was that on the Yahoo server it recognized my location and it directed me to Yahoo India. So we can have tests where we want to verify that people from different locations are routed to correct URLs. So probably Yahoo Australia, which is au.yahoo.com, would be something different. So you will see that it's Yahoo 7. The title is Yahoo 7. So this may be one of your tests where you have to verify the title of the window, the browser window. So that's when you will need browser.getTitle. Let's move on to our third browser command, which is the get URL command. So all we have to do is driver.get URL, get current URL. That is just current URL, get current URL. So if we hover our mouse over get current URL, we will get this small explanation of the method. So it says that this method returns a string, and this method resides in this namespace, which is org openqa selenium remote webdriver dot get current URL. So this method again returns a string, as it says here. So all we have to do is just string current URL equals to this, right? Now we can also print it out and see what is the current URL value that we are getting, and we can just modify it on the browser is this. So now again you will ask the question, why would I need to take the current URL from the browser? Well, it's quite obvious, but let me give you just one example. Let's say your page redirects you based on your location or based on the language selected. So you would definitely want to verify that you are being directed or redirected to the current URL, to the right URL. That is when this function would come handy for you. So as you can see, we have this browser window, and first it will get the title, then it will get the URL from the browser. So as you can see that we have printed this also in a console window, and it says the current URL on the browser is https://in.yahoo.com, and you can see it's exactly the same which is here. So you can apply different kinds of assertion here. Your test could be specifically verifying the browser title and current URL, and this will come in handy. These methods, get current URL and get title, will come in handy. So now we have another method called get page source. What is this? What is this method all about? Let me just first write it down. Get page source, and I will do a close of statement. Okay, so if I hover my mouse, it again says that this method returns a string, and it resides in this namespace. So if it returns a string, all I have to do is just store it in a variable page source equals to driver get page source, driver.get page source. Now what is a page source? Page source is the HTML content of the page. Now if I right click on any browser with a page open in it, if I right click on a blank section, on a void section, and I click on view page source, I will get the HTML code of the page, and this is the HTML code. It contains all the scripts, it contains all the HTML tags, the complete HTML document, and different other metadata. So you may be interested in dumping down the page source while your testing is going on. Now this dumping down of page source means that you get the page source and you put it down in your log files. This is important in cases where you want to verify how clean your HTML is, or like whether all the tags are properly formed or not, or you may want to compare it with the previous version of the HTML, or you just may want to get a particular script inside the page. So it's very important for logging, tracking, and verification purpose. And as you can see, you can also print it out on the console window. However, it will be a very long string value. So the page source of the browser is, all I have to do, I have to put page source here, right? And if I run this test now, you will see that here in the console window you will get the page source. And this is a very important function if you are doing in-depth testing of your web page. Well, these are just tools to get more information about the browser and the page inside it. So these tools can enable you to execute any scenario that you have, like most of the scenarios. These are just tools to help you out. So it loaded the page, it's loading the page, and then it will get the title, the URL, and the page source. Now there you go. It has executed and it pasted the page source inside the console window. As you can see, this is the complete page source, and it is quite similar to what we saw when I did a page source on our page. It's actually exactly the same. So you can dump it into a file, and you can do certain other validations, offline validations on the page source. Now let's move on to our next command, which is driver.close. Now this command is before that I would like to comment it out because it prints a lot of information which we don't need as of now. So I would say driver.close. Now what is driver.close? Driver.close is a method given to you by a particular WebDriver, which is IE WebDriver or Firefox WebDriver. It closes the window which is open right now, closes the tab or the browser. So let's say while testing you have opened 3 tabs. So if I call driver.close for the first time, it will close the tab, the current tab on which you would be in your test at that point in time. So when you do that, it closes the tab, right? And then there are other 2 tabs remaining. After that you call the close tab again and it closes that active tab. Now you are left with 1 tab in the browser. So then when you call again the close method on the driver, it closes the browser. So it closes, so essentially what it does, it closes the current page window. If it's the last page inside, if it's the last tab inside a browser, it closes the browser. You have to be very cautious while doing this because once you have closed the browser, you won't be able to perform perform other actions, for example navigate or any other action, because the browser window is closed. Any attempt to do any action would return an exception, which is a handled exception, so you won't get that exception right on your test code because it is handled inside the WebDriver code. So let us first try to understand what this method is. So it's close and it returns a void. That means it doesn't return anything. So once I do a close, the driver window, the browser window will be closed. Let's see. Well, it's a little slow. So here is the browser window. It will navigate to a page. It will get the title, it will get the URL, and it will get the page source, and it will then close this tab. As this is the last tab, it will close the browser window. There you go. So it closed the browser window. Now let me explain it to you a little bit how things work. So let me explain it here. So in here what we have done, we have first created a driver instance of a Firefox browser. So when we do this, what exactly happens? So we create a driver instance. This is our driver instance, and it could be a IE driver, it could be a Firefox driver, it could be a Chrome for that matter. So this instance is created. This is the object, this is the variable that you have created. It is the object inside your code. Now this object has to communicate with the browser. So when you create this instance, WebDriver launches a browser instance also. As you can see, whenever this statement is executed, a browser is opened. This browser could be a Firefox browser, IE browser, or Chrome browser, based on the driver you have created. Now while creating the new browser instance, there are many layers between your WebDriver and the browser. One such layer is the command executor. Now this command executor layer, what it does, it accepts command from the browser, it accepts command from the driver code, it gives it to the browser, and the browser executes the command and returns the result. Now this command executor is the most basic layer. It's the most technical layer that is inside the Selenium code, inside the communication channel. So In case of IE, it turns out to be a IE server, which is being controlled by a command executor. So there's a IE server somewhere here, which receives command from the command executor and sends it to the IE browser. But in case of Firefox, this is the channel, and I'm trying to explain it to you in a very non-technical way so that you get the point. But if you want to go technical, you can look at the Selenium source code. But let's say that we just want to explain it in terms of by abstracting the technicality. So this is the structure, how it works. So when we call any action, for example, when we call a get action, or when we say get URL, get current URL, so what happens inside? Your WebDriver sends a command, let's say a get command, to the command executor, stating that I want you to execute a get command on the browser, and I want you to navigate to yahoo.com. It sends it to the browser, and the browser navigates to yahoo.com, and then it says I have successfully executed the command, and we get the result back. Right, now when we execute the close command, what happens? When we execute the close command, it says to the browser, so our drivers say to the command executor that I want to close the browser or the current tab. So it calls the browser and it says close the tab, and it closes the tab. If it's the last tab, it closes the browser. So our browser goes off the memory. So now we don't have the browser. Now after executing the close command, so let me write it here. After executing the close command, we cannot do, if the browser window is closed, we cannot do any action. No actions after that. That is because whatever action that we try to do, for example, let's say after closing the window, we say do a get and go to a URL yahoo.com. What will happen is the commands will reach to the command executor, but there would be no endpoint to listen to your commands, and it gets an exception back. It raises an exception, it gets an exception, and this exception is handled inside the web drivers, and to our tests we don't get anything. So it is handled, the exception is handled here, and for our tests it's just a void return. There's nothing, it doesn't tell you that anything happened. So that's why calling a close command is should be done very judicially. You cannot just call a close command and expect that everything should work fine. It has to be very calculated call. So let us see what happens if we again call a get and ask the WebDriver to go to yahoo.com. Now as you can see, we have already closed the driver, and then we are asking it to navigate to a particular page. Let's run it. Let's see what comes up. It launches the browser, then it navigates to to the desired page, and then after doing the get title and other things, it closes the driver window. And there we go. This is the exception that we get. Oh, I'm sorry. So I by mistakenly said that it is handled here. It is not actually handled here. So we get the exception back. It says that I have already closed the browser and there's nothing to listen to your command to. So let us see what is the exception. The exception that we are getting is remote.unreachable browser exception. So you have closed the browser and then you are trying to perform some action on the browser and it doesn't happen. So this is the exception you get. So you can handle this exception in your code, or you can actually write your tests in such a way that you don't make a close call unless it is absolutely required, or you know that there will be a browser window after this close call. Now let us move to the next browser command, which is driver.quit. Now this is another command. So I hope you are clear with this thing. We had a small mistake at the end. So once you send a command, let me open this up again. So this is your WebDriver. This is your command executor. And this is your browser. So after performing certain actions, you said I want to issue a close command. It reaches to the command executor, and the command executor tells the browser that close it. Now unfortunately that's the last tab inside the browser. It closes the browser. Now the browser is gone. It says, before closing, it says that yeah, I was able to successfully close the browser. We get it here. We say that okay, successfully close the tab or the page, and it says we get the result. We say that okay, the tab was closed. Now when we try to issue another command, which is get, let's say a get command, it reaches to the command executor, and command executor tries to send it to the browser. Now at this point there is no browser, so we get an exception. This exception is browser not reachable exception. Browser not reachable. Now which is quite obvious, because the browser is closed, it's not reachable. So that is how the close command works. Now let's talk about the driver.quit command. So driver.quit actually quits the driver. It disposes all the objects, the command executor and different other objects in the communication channel. So when it disposes every object inside it, there is no way to make a call to these objects. So the command executor, when we call a quit, what it does is it says that our WebDriver says that quit, I want to quit now. It sends it to the browser. Sends it to the browser. It closes the channel. And after closing the channel, it disposes the objects. Now the dispose part is very important. When I dispose an object, I remove it from memory. So when I do this, there would be no instance of a command executor. Command executor will become null. There is no reference. So after that, if I make a call to the driver and ask it to perform any action, I will get a null pointer. Or if that exception is handled inside the driver code, we get a reformed exception, a trimmed exception, which is the case. So let me show you what I mean by that. So when I say get, I ask it to go to yahoo.com. When I ask it to do this, let's see what the exception comes up. So earlier in the case of close, we got an exception error communicating with the remote browser. Let's see what comes up this time. it opens up the browser. It will navigate, it will get the title and the page source, and then it will quit. Then it quits. As you can see, the browser window is gone and the driver has quit. Now when I try to make a call driver.get, let's say the Firefox driver cannot be used after quit was called. So this is the exception that we get. It is different from what we get the previous time. Here it clearly says that I cannot use the Firefox driver once you have called quit. So this is how you call a quit and a close command. You have to be very cautious when you call quit and when you call close. Quit ideally should be called at the end of the test where you want to dispose of all the objects from the memory, and close should be called very judiciously based on your test requirements. If you have multiple tabs and you want to close one of the tabs or close a couple of those tabs, and you know that once I close those tabs there would be an active browser window there, then we can call close, but both of them should be used judiciously. Thank you for watching this section of browser commands. After this, in the next video we will talk about an alternative approach to the navigation of a web page. Now I will see you in the next tutorial then. Thanks.